the shadowy recesses of a forgotten library in Edinburgh, a peculiar manuscript was discovered during renovations. Bound in cracked leather and smelling faintly of sulphur, it bore no title, only an alchemical symbol embossed on the cover, a serpent devouring its own tail, the Ouroboros. The manuscript was attributed to an enigmatic figure known only as the Alchemist of Greyfriars, a man whose name has been erased from history, but whose legend whispered through the centuries. The manuscript promised a revelation, the secret to transmuting not just lead into gold, but the human soul into something divine. It was said to contain the formula for eternal life. But as with all alchemical pursuits, there was a cost that few were willing to pay. This is the story of one man who dared. The tale begins in 1645. During the height of the plague that ravaged Scotland, Greyfriars Kirkyard in Edinburgh was not just a cemetery, but a place of whispered secrets and forbidden experiments. Among its residents was an alchemist named Elias Morven, a recluse who claimed he could cure the plague. His home, nestled near the kirkyard, reeked of strange fumes and glowed with unnatural light at night. Elias was obsessed with discovering the Philosopher's Stone, not for wealth, but for immortality. He believed that death was an imperfection of the human condition, one that could be corrected through alchemy. He worked tirelessly, mixing mercury with sulphur, distilling strange elixirs, and describing cryptic symbols on parchment. One night, as the plague crept closer to his door, Elias claimed he had succeeded. He emerged from his home with a vial of shimmering liquid, a potion he called Aurum Vitae, the gold of life. He offered it to his dying neighbours, promising salvation, but those who drank it did not recover. Instead, they were transformed into something horrifying. Twisted beings with golden veins coursing beneath their skin and eyes that glowed like molten metal. They lived, but at a terrible cost. Elias vanished soon after, leaving behind his laboratory and the cursed manuscript that details his experiments. Some say he fled into the catacombs beneath Greyfriars Kirkyard. Others believe he drank his own potion and became something more or less than human. Fast forward to the present day. In Edinburgh entered Dr. Callum Fraser, a historian specialising in occult tech. Callum had always been sceptical of alchemy, dismissing it as pseudoscience wrapped in mysticism. But when he stumbled upon Elias Morven's manuscript during a research trip to Greyfriars Library, something about it captivated him. The manuscript was written in Latin and riddled with arcane symbols and diagrams. It spoke of purifying the soul through fire and binding the essence of eternity within. At first glance, it seemed like typical alchemical nonsense, until Callum noticed something strange. Embedded within the text were chemical formulas that modern science recognised as precursors to advanced nanotechnology. Could it be possible that Elias Morven had stumbled upon something real? Something well ahead of its time? Callum became obsessed. He began recreating Morven's experiments in secret, using modern equipment to refine the ancient formulas. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. His friends noticed he was withdrawing from them, spending all his time locked away in his flat. Then came the breakthrough. One night, as the wind howled and the rain lashed the windows, Callum succeeded in synthesising what he believed to be Aurum Vitae. The liquid shimmered like molten gold in its vial, emitting a faint hum that seemed to resonate with his very soul. He hesitated. Should he drink it? The manuscript warned that only those with pure intent could survive the transformation unscathed. What did that even mean? Was his intent pure, or was he driven by vanity and fear of death? Callum rationalised his decision. If this worked, it would be the greatest discovery in human history, a cure for mortality itself. He raised the vial to his lips, and he drank. At first, nothing happened. Then came the pain, searing heat coursing through his veins as if his blood had turned to lava. He collapsed to the floor, writhing in agony, golden light pouring from his eyes and mouth. When he awoke hours later, he felt different, stronger, sharper. His reflection in the mirror revealed golden veins beneath his skin and eyes that glowed faintly in the dark. Just as described in Morven's note, he felt invincible, but also hollow, as if some part was missing. Over the next few days, Callum discovered that his body healed instantly from injuries and that he no longer needed food or sleep. But there were side effects. He began hearing whispers, voices speaking in languages he didn't quite understand, and seeing shadowy figures lurking at the edges of his vision. Worse still, everyone around him seemed repelled by him. His friends avoided him, strangers crossed the street when they saw him coming. It was as if they could sense something unnatural, something otherworldly about him. Desperate for answers, Callum returned to Greyfriars Kirkyard and descended into its catacombs, searching for any trace of Elias Morven. Deep within the labyrinthine tunnels, he found a hidden chamber, a laboratory frozen in time. And there he found Elias, or what remained of him. Sitting at a desk, covered in dust, was the figure encased entirely in gold. A statue with glowing eyes that seemed alive yet unmoving. In its hand was a note, scrawled hastily. The price is too high. Callum realised that it was too late. It was too late what Morven had tried to warn him about. Immortality wasn't a gift, it was a curse. The transformation didn't just preserve life, it trapped the soul within an eternal prison of flesh and gold. As Callum stood frozen in horror before Morven's gilded corpse, he felt his own body begin to stiffen. The whispers grew louder, shadows closed in around him. His last coherent thought before darkness consumed him was this: some secrets are meant to remain buried. Weeks later, construction workers at Greyfriars uncovered an ancient laboratory hidden beneath the kirkyard. But no sign of Callum Fraser was ever found. Only two golden statues stood side by side, one dressed in old time clothes and one in modern clothing, both with eyes that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. The legend of Elias Morven gained new life after this discovery, but so too did its warning. Be wary of seeking immortality, for what you gain may cost you your humanity or your very soul itself.